My friend and her boyfriend acted inappropriately at my wedding, so I ghosted them.
Ooh, it's me, the ghost.
I, 26-year-old female, got married 5 months ago to my now husband. My best friend, let's call her Abby, 25-year-old female, was one of my bridesmaids. We'd been best friends for 5 years after meeting in World of Warcraft, and she felt like family to me. By the way, this comes from u-happyhorse41. If you want to submit your own stories, go to r-OK storytime subreddit. So I live in the Midwest and she's down south. Over the years, I flew out to see her a few times because she couldn't afford the trip to visit me. Abby had a rough past, leaving home, an abusive father. But despite it all, she was kind, funny, and someone I could talk to for hours. When I got engaged, I didn't hesitate to ask her to be a bridesmaid. My husband was a little unsure since he never met her in person, but I brushed it off. Abby was amazing. How bad could it be? The bachelorette weekend. I was so excited to fly Abby out for my bachelorette party. It was her first time meeting my other bridesmaids and family, and I couldn't wait to have her there. But from the moment she arrived, I realized she wasn't the same Abby I'd known. She kept steering every conversation towards spicy sleep, specifically her spicy sleep life, and loudly talking about how she wanted to get her genitals pierced. She dropped F-bombs in front of my grandma and mother-in-law as she didn't seem to read the room. So I'm not a prude and I really don't care what someone does with their body or who they're with, but why talk about that in front of people you've just met?
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone grandmas and mother-in-laws. The worst part was that I couldn't relax or enjoy myself because I spent the whole weekend worried about what vulgar or inappropriate thing Abby would say next. I couldn't just hang out with my other bridesmaid or let loose. I told myself she'd tone it down for the wedding since how could she not? It's a wedding. Spoiler, she didn't. The rehearsal dinner. When the wedding weekend rolled around, I was optimistic. This was also the first time meeting her boyfriend. Let's call him John, 26 male. I thought maybe John would balance her out or rein her in, but I was so wrong. Yeah, the two options are like, honey, chill. Or the other option was like, yeah, honey, tell him.
Yeah.
If anything, they fueled each other. I'm a super relaxed bride. I went with the flow, didn't stress about the little things, and genuinely just wanted everyone to have a good time. I wasn't going to micromanage people's behaviors. But Abby and John took it to a whole other level. To note, I learned a lot of this story after the wedding. I was devastated. For people out there, please tell the bride when something this bad is going on. I should have punted her out of my wedding party after the bachelorette weekend, but I wish I had uninvited her to the wedding after hearing all of this. At the rehearsal dinner, Abby and John decided to tell anyone who would listen that they're in a polygamous relationship. Again, cool for them. I'm all about people living their lives how they want, but why would you preach about it to strangers at a wedding weekend? Actually,
That doesn't feel that weird.
I don't agree with OP here.
Yeah.
That is just them talking about their relationship and the status of the relationship. And I don't think it's offending to be like, hey, I have an alternative relationship orientation that is not monogamy. It is polyamory. It felt really awkward and made a lot of family members uncomfortable. Not out of judging, but out of the randomness of the comments. So to make things worse, I later found out they were loudly flirting with one of the waitresses and talking about bringing her back to the hotel. Whether it happened or not, I don't know, nor do I care to know. The wedding day. The actual wedding day should have been the happiest day of my life. But Abby and John still found ways to add unnecessary stress. We are at the venue pre-ceremony. John volunteered to grab the Jell-O shots my dad had forgotten at the hotel that we wanted for the post-ceremony trolley, but instead of coming right back, he took over an hour because he stopped at a liquor store. My dad was panicking, thinking John would miss the ceremony, only to learn he decided to get himself booze over rushing back to the venue. At the reception, Abby openly asked multiple guests where she could buy some hoo-ha. At my wedding, I was horrified. But some of the other things I was like, but for this one, just loudly asking people like, may I buy some?
Yes.
Where can you show me?
Hi, does anyone have any felonies in their pocket? It's like, dude, at this point, this person needs to be like, hey, we'll see each other later. I think you need to be gone.
Yeah. And don't even get me started on John. Earlier, he gone to the liquor store to get himself a giant bottle of whiskey and finished it during cocktail hour.
Dude!
Mind you, we had a fully stocked open bar, a no-limit open bar, and even a martini wall. He didn't even need a personal stash of whiskey, but I guess he just wanted to let loose. So now John is completely wasted by the time the dance floor opens up, which could potentially save the wedding. During this time, John kept dragging my grandma onto the dance floor even after she told him no multiple times, because of her bad hip. At first I was like, that's sweet, he's including the grandma, but she's like, my hip, and he's like, get over here.
She's actively like, ah!
She's like, you better do the Cupid shuffle with me another time.
God, dude.
When she finally gave in and the hip gave in, he danced so closely to her that she told me later how uncomfortable it made her feel. He was also soaked in sweat. He was wearing a maroon shirt and it showed everything. Sadly, my grandma was not the only victim. Multiple people complained about John trying to grind up on them. And if he wasn't trying to, Abby was.
John, you've been dancing a lot.
I'm going to give you a live demonstration and you're going to see it too.
Show me those hips. Oh, damn. That is a good move. But you know what is also an amazing move?
What is that, Sam?
Becoming an OK Storytime member.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And it's only $5 a month. So go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Well, let's get back to the story.
Dude.
There's just, throughout the night, Abby kept asking me if I had to, and if I said yes, she dragged me into the bathroom and started taking off my dress before I could get her to stop. My sister was my maid of honor, and due to my dress style, it had to come completely off to go to the bathroom. So my sister and I had to sneak away for me to use the bathroom in peace since Abby wouldn't take no for an answer. Abby would even get aggressive towards my sister if she tried to step in to help me. So she does have to take the dress off to go to because of the style of the dress.
Right. And Abby's like just trying to be like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll take your dress
she's
off.
Like,
And
no,
she's like,
don't.
no.
I'll do it. And she's like, no, I will.
Yeah.
Ugh. These people are trash and need to be left in the internet where you found them.
Yeah, it's just getting more and more uncomfortable. Now the bride is uncomfortable by her own friend and is feeling like, and especially in like around like nudity and stuff and being like coerced into that. By the end of the night, I felt like my wedding had become the Abby and John show, where everyone had some insane story to tell about them. Scene, the fallout. The Tuesday after my wedding, people kept coming to me with more stories about Abby and John. The Tuesday after my wedding, people kept coming to me with more stories about Abby and John. I had to beg them to stop because it was running what little joy I had left from the day. I haven't texted Abby to tell her how I feel. It's not because I'm trying to be cruel or a bad person. I genuinely don't know how to approach it. I have massive confrontation anxiety. The thought of bringing this up makes me physically ill, and I've always been the kind of person who avoids arguments at all costs. I hate being angry at people, and I'm usually the first one to forgive, but this time I just can't see how I could possibly move past what happened. My husband thinks I should never speak to her again, especially for making my grandma dance when she repeatedly said no. My family is so put off by her behavior, and my family is the most laid back, amazing individuals you'd ever meet. It's really, really hard to make them uncomfortable. It's been 5 months and I've barely spoken to Abby. She still reaches out, and even John has texted me to ask if everything's okay, but I can't bring myself to respond. I'm not trying to ghost her to be mean. I just can't see any way this conversation ends well. I don't have it in me to open that door again. But by the way, if you want to open a door, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Open that door handle, push it open, come on in. I think OP understands that she needs to confront. So I don't think that's up to debate. She just doesn't know how.
Honestly, like sitting here, like thinking about it, it's almost like I think for OP's personal like life, they should confront to get out of their comfort zone. But like they obviously don't need to continue any relationship with these people whatsoever.
Sure. I know people will probably say I shouldn't tell her how I feel, that she has a right to know, but what she did really hurt me. Nothing she says will fix it. I don't want her in my life anymore, and that feels awful to admit because I cared about her so much. So, am I the a-hole? And we do have an edit.
Clearly no. Clearly not the a-hole.
Yes, you are not
Clearly
the a-hole
not.
for not wanting this
person low-key almost like ruined your wedding.
Ruined your wedding. Edit. To answer some questions, I haven't blocked her yet, even though it's been a while since the incident because I had hoped time would heal my anger, but months went by and I still feel the same. Time usually does not heal emotions. Just so
Nah,
you know.
you can. It's okay. You can cut this person off. They're bad. They're no good for you right now.
Yes. Comments. Comment 1. I'm sorry, but what is the last sentence? She has a right to know. After all this, you think that's what people will say? People would want you to tell her how you feel, not for her sake, but for yours.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that you could get closure. Also, if you're not going to talk to her, at least block her and let it go. Like another person said, what are you hanging on to? This friendship has ended. Either accept it, block her, and move on. Let her know her behavior at the wedding was unacceptable. Block her and move on. What more is left? I agree. Like, I think like a decision just needs to be made and be done with it. So you can move on. Comment number 2. You do not need to talk to her. You could tell her how you feel about the way that her and her BF behaved and that they ruined your wedding memories. Tell her she need not respond because you don't want to hear excuses. You are done with her in the friendship, then block her from everything you can. If something slips through, delete it without reading it. Do not engage with her anymore. Comment 3. This isn't a confrontation. Since you're never going to see her again, you can say anything you want. Get it all off your chest, then block her. Maybe it'll inspire you to get a backbone. You should have cut her loose after the hen party. The good news is, in a few years, and the other guests will be laughing about this. OP replied, I agree. I wish I dropped her after the bachelorette party. I thought about it too, but that would have put my anxiety into overdrive, and I probably would have been the one who ended up apologizing. A backbone would be nice. Do they provide free shipping? As for laughing about it, it is quite the story. Haha. Right now, I'm still embarrassed whenever someone brings it up. I hope I could laugh about it in the future. And that is it.
Yeah.
I hope you can laugh about it in the future too.